I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, June the 25th, brought to you in part by Specialty Risk Insurance. Specialty Risk is here to help cattlemen manage risk one calf at a time. For a one-stop shop for all your ag insurance needs, go to specialtyrisk.ag. Also, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma, another big sale for them. We thought it was over, but cattle just keep coming from everywhere. Estimating 4,000 here for the regular sale on Tuesday. And talked to Lane Conkle. He said they're going to have 600 to 800 calves, most of them weighing in the 4 and 5 weights, but he said there's going to be about 150 head split from their mothers there, and they'll be weighing from 200 to 400 pounds. So if you're interested in some of those little light things, try to keep your cost per head down. But he's going to have about 3,000 yearlings, about 800 yearling heifers there, and they'll weigh in the 7 and 8 weights. About 20 loads of yearling steers, or about 1,500 of those, and they'll weigh from 8.5 to 10.5. And then they're going to have a good selection of mixed grazing yearlings sorted up into smaller groups there. But he did tell me about one string. There's going to be 3 loads of 6-weight yearling cattle, turnout kind of cattle. Come from down around Lubbock, Texas, long haul in there. He said the condition on those cattle was unbelievable, just right to turn out. If you guys still have some grass that you want to get stocked, you want to pay attention to that. Get on to DVAuction.com. If you want to be approved, call them up at Beaver County Stockyards. Tell them you'd like to be approved to bid, and they'll get you fixed up there. Midnight Rodeo. We talked about it on our last visit. Joplin Regional Stockyards started their Monday sale at midnight. And I'm going to go out on a limb, not very far out on a limb, but I'm going to say that's the first feeder cattle auction that's ever started at midnight. But they had a big run. They're expecting a few more, but it got hot. They ended up having a little over 9,000 there for their Monday sale. And they indeed started at midnight there at Yellowstone South, right there in Carthage, Missouri, at Joplin Regional Stockyards. And I was talking to my friend Wes Spinks, cattle buyer there, that regular at Joplin Regional, and he texted me right at midnight whenever he was rolling in there, and said there was about 50 pots waiting there to be loaded. And got in there, and they started right on time at midnight. Said there was probably 30 or more people in the stands, and all the regular buyers that are there at the start of a sale were there. And they sold on a few odd deals there for a little bit, and then they got right into the loads. And they were just selling string after string after string by 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning through the 4 o'clock hour there. And by the time they got to 6 o'clock in the morning, they had already sold pretty much all the cattle that were at the yards, the overnight cattle that had come in early, and they'd sold almost 6,000 head by then. And so they were kind of cleaned up, so they ended up taking an hour and a half break for some of those early morning cattle to get in there. And then they cranked back up at 7 or so and sold all them. They were completely done selling everything, and the few cows that they get in on a Monday by around noontime. So that's still pretty impressive, guys. But market was awfully good. And the extreme heat was the main reason that they decided to start so early. They've got that thing lit up like a Christmas tree. Even the big lots in the back where the big strings of cattle go, they've got those lit up now. So, you know, do you want to work when it's in the 70-degree range, or do you want to work when the sun's beating down on you and it's in the 90s, nearly 100, with a high humidity level? And, you know, the buyers are going to show up there. Those that want to buy the cattle are going to be there. I'm not sure anybody else could get away with it but Jackie Moore, but it's something to be said that he can do that. He told the buyers when he was going to start, they did not doubt him. They showed up, those that wanted to buy cattle, and they bought cattle. Market was impressive. I'm going to give you a rundown on it here in just a minute. But, you know, Jackie is a lot of things Stupid, he is not. The whole industry, the whole cattle industry, fully expected the board to be down on the open, especially feeder cattle. We didn't know so much about live cattle because we're deep within the June month and the basis is gigantic. But we figured the feeder cattle board would be down big on the open. If you start that sale at midnight, you can get a world of those big yearlings sold before the board even opened up to hurt the market at all. And don't tell me that didn't play into it just a little bit. But that was a smart tactic there, and they do smart things there, and they know what's going on. But they got a lot of those cattle sold before the board even opened. But then the board opened just fine. You got kind of moderately higher there in the early rounds and just kind of stuck right in there when we had a bearish cattle on feed report. But a lot of people, and I'm guilty of it too, they think that there's fundamentals that have something to do with these futures markets. Now, say what you want about the cattle on feed report. You may not agree with it. You may not think it's right. You may hate it. You may wish that they would do away with it if they want to save some money in the government. But whatever you think about it, it is fundamental. The numbers that they're trying to gather is fundamental. So naturally, you would think that the board was going to be down, the feeder board would be down on the open, and it ended up not being down on the open. But you know, we just, and like I said, I'm guilty of it all the time too, thinking that there's something fundamental in your CME cattle futures, and there is absolutely not. I mean, look at us here. Our weighted average on last week's fed cattle in your 5-area feeding region live basis was an all new record high again, almost 195 weighted average in the 5-area feeding region. It was 194.84, and your June live cattle, we're almost done with June. Your June live cattle closed at 188.90. We've got to force them to allow folks to demand delivery. And you're like, oh, I love the basis. Oh, you know, don't mess up the basis. You know, I want to keep it right in there. You would like the futures a lot better if it was more true. If it bounced up and it bounced back down when it was supposed to, when it come to fruit and whenever it matured. If it came right to the button every time and did it in a faster pace, you would like the futures market better. Some of these small packers, that they could demand delivery on those cattle and keep that thing true. Now, if you've got a negative basis, you know, they can threat to deliver cattle and it comes right back. I mean, immediately it does. So why they won't allow them to demand delivery, I know CME doesn't like delivery. They're making that contract attractive to shorts all the time, but we've got to do something for the longs because we're getting right in here now where the longs don't have any confidence for the market to go any higher, and we can't get those futures prices up there where they ought to be. But you know, I'm frustrated with that, always am. But we had a lighter fat cattle trade than what we expected last week, mainly because it didn't get started until late Friday afternoon. They sold 60,000 head of fat cattle Friday, and most of them were all in the late afternoon. We had at least one major packer still trying to get cattle bought after 7 o'clock at night. Well, you know, most of the people, you know, they're doing other things. You know, maybe they had a trip planned with their family and they left out of there, turned their phone off and decided not to worry about it. You know, you just can't get that much business done in that short of amount of time. But, you know, we still saw all-time record high prices broken in your fat cattle arena. We saw the southern plains catch up some much needed ground on the northern plains. But you know, just a little bit disappointing still. And now we're already seeing some analysts saying that, you know, it's going to be steady at best this week. I don't know why it would be. You know, keep boring to them. I don't care if we're in a long week. Going into a holiday week, they still need cattle. They definitely can't leave those shelves empty over the 4th of July. There's 2 weekends there that they're going to have outstanding demand. They've got to have plenty of product in there and plenty of product behind it to backfill what they take up whenever the the holiday goes through there. But talk about your board for Monday. June live cattle futures up $1.30 at 188.90. August up 167 at 184.82. Back months were mixed from down 27 cents to up 17. August feeder cattle up 52 cents at 258.90. September up 22 cents at 260.12. Your back months on feeder cattle were down 30 to up 50. So not a big movement there, but it was surprising that your feeder cattle weren't quite a bit lower on the open, at least. But we kind of forced, even though we can't demand delivery, to save some face. Your live cattle futures had to get somewhere within eye shot of what your cash market is. Chicago Board of Trade grain futures for July: corn down 1 1/4 cent a bushel at 432 1/4. Beans down 1 3/4 at 1173 1/2. Kansas City hard red winter wheat up 2 1/2 cents at 584 a bushel. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade out of your 5-area feeding region, only 61,400. It just ran out of time. That compared with 80,900 the previous week and 66,400 the same week a year ago. Live prices of your fat steers and heifers last week in your 5-area ranged from 188 to 198.50. That 198.50, that would be another all-time record high price there. That price range was 50 cents to $4 higher. Weighted average on live steers, all-time new record high. Weighted average steer price in your 5-area, 194.84. That was up $2.29 compared to the previous record, which was the previous week. That is a big gain. Dress sales range from 305 to 314. That 314 is the highest we've ever seen, and that was $4 higher. Weighted average on dress steers, 310.55, all-time record high again, and that weighted average on dress steers was $5.08 higher than the previous week. Big time gains there. As a whole, your Southern Plains sold $2 to $5 higher from 188 to 191, mostly 188 to 189. Northern Plains was $3 to $4 higher from 197 to 198, and $4 to $6 higher dress from 310 to 312. Nationwide, they sold 73,400 negotiated last week, compared to 95,700 the previous week and 79,100 the same week a year ago. Of the 73,400, about 21% of those were for the 2 to 4 week delivery, which that's a joke. They're going to call on them before that. All your packers are kind of short bought. But negotiated grid sales last week total 47,200. Forward contracting remains light, so most of your cattle sellers still think that the market's going to be higher in the near-term future. They're not forward contracting any cattle. 18,700 all last week. Formula sales totaled 268,600 head. Of the 4 out of 5 areas that we get information from, Iowa sold 22,300 negotiated last week. Nebraska sold 20,000. Kansas sold 11,000 negotiated last week. And Texas sold 8,100. Box beef cutout values were higher to start the week. Choice cuts 322.64, up a quarter, and select up 196 at 305.07. Your slaughter to start the week out on Monday, 115,000. That's pretty disappointing. That's 1,000 less than last Monday or the previous Monday, 10,000 less than the same Monday a year ago. Your cow slaughter year to date, we've been talking about that, was down 12.5%. compared to a year ago. That's where our lighter slaughter has mostly been on cows and bulls, not because they're so high, because there's just not any of them. The availability of them is so tight, and that's why they're so high. Let's talk about what else is going on. Got some new broadcasters for our broadcasting family on DVAuction. I always tend to cater to our those that broadcast with us, those that do business with us. And this time it's some friends of mine that I've had known for a long time. Kurt and Heather Sporeleader from Unionville, Missouri. We're going to be broadcasting Unionville Livestock Market for the first time ever on DVAuction today, and it is their barbecue special, guys. They're going to have 2,500 head there. We're going to start at 10:30 a.m. They've got a lot of really top consignments. Some of their best customers are going to have cattle in there, including the Rockin' R's or the Smokin' R's. They're going to have 5 loads in there, so it's going to be quite a sale. Don't forget to check it out at Unionville Livestock Market. View and bid that sale on DVAuction for the first time ever. And then the very next day, on Wednesday, we're going to be broadcasting Creston Livestock Auction up in Creston, Iowa, where the Sport Leaders partner with Cody Fry. And yes, he is the son of Tom Fry. We're not going to hold that against him. You can pick your nose, but you can't pick your relatives, people. He's a good guy there, and they're doing good business there at Creston, America. They've got 1,500 for a feeder sale on Wednesday, and view and bid that sale on DVAuction for the first time ever. Check those 2 sale barns out here today and tomorrow in northern Missouri and south central Iowa. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Late in the day on Monday, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer, 255.43. Was down about 24 cents from the end of last week, and there was some pressure on there, some of it due to heat and sometimes just because there's a lot more sales on Monday. But your latest CME cash feeder cattle index was 258.34, so it's getting out in front there. Talk about your biggest sale, of course, Joplin Regional Stockyard, the Midnight Rodeo, 9,000 head, and it was kind of a mixed bag on the trend, and I have to agree with that. Whenever I saw your automated market report, there was pressure on your lighter weight stockers and your calves. These calves have not shed off yet, and when you're in fescue country, the heat comes on really quick like this, and the endophytes in that fescue kind of cause them to get hairy, and until you get that hair to shed off, it puts those cattle under stress. And there was some hair on a lot of the calf consignments there, but the yearlings, they were higher again. The market reporter there called the yearling steers steady to $6 higher, called the yearling heifers steady to $10 higher, but the calves were lower. Steer calves $7 to $14 lower, heifer calves $2 to $4 lower, and like I said, it's mostly due to the heat and the hair on those cattle. They really suffer with that until they get shed off. Of course, don't forget the Big Bang Primetime Livestock Video Sale with Joplin Regional Stockyards. It's going to be over Pittsburgh, Kansas at the casino. That's going to be on July the 2nd, and they're looking at about 60,000 head. Be a lot of Flint Hill Osage cattle. Of course, there'll be a lot of southern Missouri and northern Arkansas cattle on that video too. That is the biggest video sale of the year for Joplin, and it'll be a big one for anybody. So be sure and make your plans to attend that sale, or get on to DVAuction or Primetime Livestock Video website and view and bid that sale on July the 2nd, the Big Bang video with Primetime Livestock Videos. Now, Joplin was your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day on Monday. Check out your best tested weights. And remember, this happened all through the early morning hours. 574 head of 5-weight steers averaged 559 at 286.50. 659 head of 6-weight steers averaged 645 at 270-277. There were 884 head of 7-weight steers in Joplin. They averaged 754 at 259.45. And just over 3,000 head, 3,009 head of 8-weight yearling feeder steers, Joplin Regional Stockyards, they averaged 857 with a weighted average price on all of them of 251.75. 566 head of 9-weight steers averaged 922 at 239.32. Look at some heifers. How about 305 head of 4-weight heifer calves averaged 453 at 291.65. 667 head of 5-weight heifers averaged 558 at 269.11. 367 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 645 at 252.69. And there were 435 head of 7-weight heifers, Joplin Regional Stockyards, Carthage, Missouri. They averaged 753 pounds. They had a weighted average price of $237.88. Big time sale there at Joplin. How about Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City? Still selling cattle there. They had 2 sales last week. It was hot in Oklahoma City on the bricks there. They sold 5,200 head. Feeder steers were $1 to $3 higher. Feeder heifers $2 to $5 lower. And the calves were lower, similar to the way they were in Joplin. Steer calves $3 to $5 lower, and heifer calves $5 to $8 lower. But still impressive quotes. National Livestock Commission sells 69 steers, weighs 756 at 279 in the city. That's pretty impressive right there, guys. How about some individual quotes? How about Russell Livestock Market in Russell, Iowa? They sell 65 steers, weigh 834 at 269. And then your most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, indeed come out of Joplin Regional Stockyards, and it was the Garris Ranch, biggest string we've seen for quite a while. 718 head of put together but black and top quality steers there, feeder steers. 718 of them, weighed 892 and bring 261.50. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.
Here at the Beaver County Stockyards, we've been serving the High Plains since 1931. For the last 11 years, we've been working on this place at a steady process. We went from selling 30,000 head a year to what I think we'll sell 200,000 head this year, but we're still not satisfied. We want more cattle, we want to take better care of you. If you want an honest sale barn with great facilities and great people working here, I sure wish you'd give us a try. You'll see in the rest of this video what all we have to offer. Look forward to seeing you soon.
In November of 2013, my dad, Jeff Slatton, and my grandpa, Joe Radcliffe, partnered on what is now the Beaver County Stockyards. We made some excellent improvements on our facilities to where we can take care of the cattle and get your weight back, and the cattle can be pinned back in a comfortable place before they're loaded out to head to a feed yard or back to the country. Our feed program here at the sale barn, we bale all of our own hay and bring it in and feed it to the cattle straight from our pastures and our irrigated circles. The biggest goal here is to make sure the customer goes home happy with a big check.
Here at the Beaver Stockyards, we've got 3 main points that we really strive for every sale. Number 1 is customer service. If we're not doing our job there, that's the one thing in the whole deal we can control. We try and communicate with our customers before the sale, during the sale, after the sale. It's a full staff. We work at that very hard.
There's 2 Dolan brothers that sell a lot of cattle here. This is Aiden, one of them. The other
Right.
one's here. They do a tremendous amount of business with you, and we appreciate them.
Hi, I'm Hayden Dolan from Buffalo, Oklahoma, part of Dolan Brothers. It's one of the coolest sale barns to come to. I mean, Jeff wants to make it a wonderful time for everybody. He's made this place incredible. He's redone a lot of the stuff. In the facilities, they've come a long ways. Jeff's added more pens, more space. I mean, we don't sell any cattle anywhere else than Beaver, and always will, as long as he has it.
I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, and I do the feeder flash market video every day. And I was coming up here on my way up to Kansas one day, and I just pulled in to take some pictures of the barn to use in my videos, and a stranger pulled up beside me, and it was Jeff Slatton, and we made fast friends, been friends ever since. And we think he's got a good, honest market here and does a good job for his customers. Hit 7, 39, 39, 39, 10, 10, 10.
Just because Jeff, he treats people right, he treats people the way he wants to be treated, he's honest. The market's really, really good.
The help here is great, and they take care of the cattle, and you can't ask for a better place to bring your cattle to.